Good morning, children. Now we have come to the last chapter of civics, that is High Courts of India, and simultaneously we will discuss the subordinate courts as well as Lok Adalats. Okay, so now you should know what are the High Courts. The High Courts are generally the last court of regular appeal. First appeal or highest court, apex level was Supreme Court. Clear? Then comes High Court. Besides for invoking writ jurisdiction, writ I told you earlier also, the High Courts can be approached for enforcement of other rights. Means so many types of rights we people are having. So all the rights, if anything is encroached or stopped by anyone else, so directly without going to the subordinate courts, we can appeal in High Courts. It has the power to supervise the subordinate courts falling within its territorial jurisdiction. What does it mean? That suppose Odisha, so in Odisha all the subordinate courts will be under Odisha High Court. The High Courts are courts of record, means whatever is done there, that is kept as the records for future. The High Court also exercises original jurisdiction under the Companies Act, just as you studied in Supreme Court. So these are some of the picks of High Courts. Now, what is the composition of the High Court? So same, first one Chief Justice and other judges also are there to help the Chief Justice. But how many are there? Just as in Supreme Court, 30 judges were there. Here, number is decided according to the size of the state. Those all are appointed by the President. Means if the size of the state is big, it means the number of the judges may be larger. Qualifications, he must be the citizen of India as well as minimum is 35 years of age. In judicial office means in courts, minimum 10 years he must have worked. He must be an advocate of any of the High Court or the judge for 10 years or 2 or more courts in succession. Means it is not compulsory that he should be a judge in the same one court. Means it may be 2 or 3 courts. The retirement of the judges of High Court is 62 years. Means when they complete the age of 62, they will be removed by impeachment, or you can say they will be retired. Impeachment process in Supreme Court, I told you. So there is no fixed number of judges for the High Courts as per Constitution. It can be less, it can be more according to the size of the state, population of the state, and also the need of the court. President only has the power to fix the composition of each High Court at a certain period of time. Means suppose so much burden is there in any of the High Court, so for a limited time the number will be increased in that particular High Court. President appoints the Chief Justice of the High Court after consulting the Chief Justice of India and the Governor of the state. Here, because we are talking about High Court, so the Governor of the state consultation is must. Judges are also appointed by the President by consulting the Chief Justice of High Court. This is regarding the other judges of the High Court. Means Chief Justice is consulted, appointment of Chief Justice is consulted by the Governor of the state. But when we come to the appointment of the other judges of the High Court, then the Chief Justice of India no required. It may be or may not be. Chief Justice of the High Court is must for the consultation. Now comes what type of judgments or jurisdiction High Court has. So first, just like Supreme Court, original jurisdiction. Some cases which are heard at first time in High Court, they come under original jurisdiction, just as state revenue and collection, marriage laws, company laws, contempt of court means not obeying the rules of the court, issue writ for the preservation and safeguard of fundamental right. Means all these three types of cases, they can come directly to the High Court. Now, appellate means through appeal. All the decisions made by the subordinate courts in all types of civil as well as criminal matters can be brought to the High Court by an appeal. Sometimes here, High Court also appeals to the Supreme Court. Sometimes subordinate courts appeal to the High Court. Sometimes people appeal if they are not satisfied with the judgment of the subordinate court, then they appeal in the High Court. Only those civil cases which are divided by the petty courts under the jurisdiction of the High Court concerned means sometimes some very important or critical cases are told by the petty courts, then you can go directly to the High Court through appeal. Can be brought to the High Court or any other court by an appeal. So if appeal, any case comes through appeal, so obviously it will come under appellate jurisdiction. Then comes your administrative powers of the High Court. Just as in Supreme Court has, you have studied that it administers the High Court and the subordinate court. So High Court supervises the working of the lower courts. It frames rules and regulations for their means subordinate or the lower courts, and also inspect their records. It can also transfer cases from one court to another, means one subordinate court to another subordinate court, one subordinate court to High Court also. All appointments, transfer and promotion of district judges are made by the governor on the advice of the High Court and the Public Service Commission. Very important point. Then comes your judicial review, which you have already studied in the Supreme Court. That was at the central level. This is at the state level. Means if any judgment or if any law is passed by either the legislature or the executive, so obviously for that particular time it was very beneficial. But after some time, suppose it becomes unconstitutional or instead of giving benefits, started giving harm to the people, so the High Court has the power to review that particular law, and if it is found unconstitutional, then to declare it illegal, null and void, means it will not work now. So this procedure is known as judicial review, but it comes in existence when any affected person complains about it. High Court has the power of judicial review to oversee the decisions of public bodies, means public offices which are run by the government, and officials such as inferior courts and tribunals, local councils, means your municipal councils, Welsh Assembly, and the members of executive. Suppose if any law is passed, any rule is passed, any scheme is passed by the executive and it is harmful, so it can be reviewed by the High Court. Exercised by two more or judges, either two or more judges of the QBD of the High Court. To make an application, a citizen must have locus standing. What does this mean? Means all these have to be followed. Now, in subordinate courts, we can say lower courts. Three categories are there: civil courts, criminal courts, revenue courts. In civil, again so many categories. The lowest one is small cases, municipal, sub-judge or family, then district, this is the highest. Here, third class, second class, first class in criminal, metropolitan, and then the session judge or session court. Revenue courts, Nayab Tehsildar, Tehsildar, Commissioner, Collector, Board of Revenue, highest one. Now one by one. Small cases courts or courts of first instance. It is headed by the civil judge, junior division. They come under junior division. Earlier they were known as Monsif. It also has two categories. One is temporary. They can fine up to rupees 1 to 10,000. Permanent category, they take little bit difficult cases rather than the temporary one, and the fine can be up to 10,000 to 25,000. Second category is Court of Civil Judge or Sub-Judge. It is also known as Civil Judge Senior Division. This you studied Junior Division. This is Senior Division. It holds jurisdiction of rupees 25,001 till unlimited, means maybe the 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs or whatever. Now the apex, the highest court at district level, principal civil court. In some matters of probate and matrimonial matters, this court has original jurisdiction. Also, this is the highest civil court at district level. So the name has to be mentioned, principal civil courts. Now comes the criminal. Third class magistrate can fine up to 50 rupees and prison up to 1 month. Second class, little bit more powers. He can fine up to rupees 200 or 6 months imprisonment, or can be both. Now first class magistrate, more powers, fine rupees 1,000 and prison up to 2 years or both. And this is the highest one in district session court, which is headed by session judge. This is the highest court which can handle even murder and avoid capital punishment. This is criminal courts in subordinate or district. Then comes the last category here, revenue courts. So the first one, the junior most here, Nayab Tehsildar, who assesses land, revenue and property taxes. Means he measures the land and tells how much revenue has to be given. Tehsildar court, Tehsildar is responsible for the collection of revenue and taxes. Then collector's court, collector administers the district and processes the collection of revenue. Commissioner, that is above the collector, he administers the district same as collector and looks after the assessment of revenue of the area. Means whatever assessment was done by Nayab Tehsildar, whether it is correct or not, and simultaneously revenue is deposited or not. Now comes Board of Revenue. This is the highest court of revenue in any of the district. This board functions directly under the High Court. It hears the appeal from all the courts below it, means all these. Suppose anyone among these says that so and so party is not submitting the revenue, so the case can be filed here. Now comes here Lok Adalat. Lok means general public. Lok Adalat is a system of alternate dispute resolution, ADR, developed in India. Means people's court, where the people can easily go and file the case. That is people's court, or you can say Lok Adalat, which is an improvement and is based on principles of Mahatma Gandhi. What is the importance? NPAs means those who are not giving the loans which were taken by them in the bank, and a recovery process of the dues is important concern of the banks. Lok Adalat is one of the forums which has been playing an important role in settlement of disputes regarding NPAs of the bank. The system has received laurels from the parties involved in particular and the public and legal functionaries in general. Which system? Lok Adalat system. It gets so many complaints from the parties, from people, those who are involved in all these things. The system of Lok Adalat has been given legal recognition by enacting Legal Service Authorities in 1987. Now, jurisdiction. Any case pending before means earlier. Any matter which is falling within the jurisdiction of and is not brought before means it was sincere, severe, but it was not brought to any of the court and any court for which the Lok Adalats are organized. Lok Adalats have jurisdiction on all cases which are pending in the court and have not been placed before any court. We can call it pre-litigation conciliation and settlement. Means, just as we know in courts, so many cases are being pending. And a very famous dialogue, Tariq pe Tariq, means sometimes 20 years are passed and case is not heard. So for the easy judgment process, this Lok Adalat system came into being. So here, in the benefit, in the interest of the public, the Lok Adalats are held now also, which case is not being heard in any of the case and still file is pending, then it can be also heard in Lok Adalat. What are the powers? To summon and enforce the attendance of any witness and examine him on oath. To discovery and production of documents, suppose documents are not submitted, so it can also ask. To receive evidence on affidavits. Sometimes if the documents are false, so affidavits are submitted for the legality. So what is the proof for that? The requisition of public record or copy of the record also can be asked by the Lok Adalat. Now comes advantages. Lok Adalat work in the spirit of harmony, compromise and understanding. Hence, both the parties feel satisfied. What does it mean? It does not require any court, no more time, no money, no lawyer, etc. In one room, the judge, those who are voluntarily decided by the courts, they sit and both the parties of the case, they stand or sit in front of the judge and they tell all the things to the judges. No need of any lawyer or any type of help there. They themselves are sufficient. Lok Adalats deliver fast and inexpensive justice. Within 10, 15 or 20 minutes or half an hour, they discuss each and everything and within less time, no time you can say, the judgment is given. Lok Adalats also reduce the workload of other courts because some of the cases are totally resolved, finished in Lok Adalats. So the burden will be less, helping them to focus on more serious matters to whom? The High Court and the Supreme Court. This reduces the delays in higher courts. Lok Adalats promote social justice by providing legal aid to weaker sections of the society. What does it mean? That legal aid means weaker section if they go to Lok Adalats, so obviously within no time, no expenses, no your mental harassment, the cases are solved and that will be a great help to the lower class people. So that is why the Lok Adalats today also they are very much beneficial as well as in popular you can say nowadays. So dear children, here your chapter is completed. Go through that.